Hey guys, welcome back to the Dig Your Dream podcast for episode 284. This is my weekly word. Before I get into this episode, I just want to say thank you to all of you who took the time to watch and or listen to episode 283, my first episode of 2026 that I dropped just a couple of weeks ago. I appreciate the time and the interest and the support. And as of this morning, 15 total views of episode 283. I need your help on my YouTube channel. 15 total views. I get it. It's not a lot, but I'll tell you what, it's 15 more views than I would have had if I chose to avoid doing this project or kicking the can down the curb or coming up for another excuse as to why I shouldn't take the time to record an episode. So yeah, as of this morning, 15 total views on my YouTube channel, 15 more views than I would have had, and 15 views that I am extremely grateful for. So let's keep doing it. Listen, you got to start somewhere, especially if you're committing to rebuilding something. So here we are. So this is now episode 284. This is my weekly word. And what I want to do is I want to share a story that really touched my heart, just about a week and a half into the new year. And to be honest with you, at the time it was happening, it was extremely heartbreaking for me as a father. So let me get to the story. So my daughter, Stella Rose, her birthday is January 2nd. So for us, it's an extended holiday season, right? You go into Thanksgiving and then December and the holiday season's in full swing. And then, we have a couple of special moments in our family. My wedding anniversary is in the beginning of December. My sister's birthday is in the middle of December. And then all of a sudden Christmas Eve and then Christmas. And then we're working our way up to New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And then it's still going for our family because our daughter, her birthday is January 2nd. And this year, the celebration was extended even further because my family took an amazing family trip down to Disney World, of course, to spend time with family, but also to celebrate our daughter, Stella Rose. So it was a really special trip. And honestly, it was beyond amazing, except for one moment. And this is the moment that I'm going to share. So I want you guys to picture me, my family, my daughter, down in Disney World in the happiest, most magical place on earth. And we're a big Disney family. So you could picture our smiles all the days we were down there. Everything is amazing, as close to perfect as you can get. In fact, the weather was beyond movie-esque. It was sunny, 75 and 80, not a cloud in the sky for all 4 days that we were down there. It was just Disney World perfect. And what I was most excited about was Stella just turned 6 years old. And for those of you who have ever met Stella, she is kind of tall for her age. She's just like growing like a beanstalk right now. So I was super excited because from what I had heard, everyone in my family was saying that she was tall enough to go on all the rides. And they were right. So the first couple of days, it was just really cool to see how excited she was to be able to go on all the rides because she was now a big girl. And, any parent can relate to this, taking your kids to Disney World. Sure, it's hectic. Sure, it's beyond expensive. Sure, you're exhausted from running around the parks for a few days, but to see the smiles of your children, that's exactly why we do it as parents, right? So Stella was having a great time. Everything was going perfect until we went to the ride Tron. So the whole time I'm telling her, I think I'm the great dad, the coolest dad. I'm telling her about every ride we're about to go on and why she's going to love it. And I'm building up Tron. I'm building up Tron because this is one of the big people rides. And she's super excited that she's going to be able to go on it. And so far up to this moment, Stella is perfect for every single ride. She has been tall enough. She has walked in. She put on her, she's hitting her magic band on the little sensor things. She's just owning the moment and owning every single ride. So we get to Tron and we're waiting in line and we're so excited. And now we're about to go in. And my wife puts her magic band on and she walks in and my sisters do the same thing and everyone's doing it. And then it's Stella's turn. So Stella's about to walk in and she has to go on that little height measurement requirement thing. And I didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden I peeked over and I see this little tiny space between her head and the top of the height requirement. And the Walt Disney World employee chose to do, I guess, the honest thing and tell Stella that she was not tall enough to go on the ride at Tron. Now, what I want you to picture is forget the disappointment at first. I want you to picture we were in a lightning pass line, so it goes a little bit quicker and it's a little bit shorter than the regular line. So the regular line for this ride seemed like it was, miles and miles long, probably all the way back from Florida to New Jersey. So everyone is watching this moment happen. So Stella is just told that she is too short to go on Tron. And as you can guess, she breaks down into millions of tears. She is completely heartbroken. She's devastated. And we have to watch our family members, our relatives, go onto the ride. So I pick her up and I hold her as a dad. I feel her pain. I feel her disappointment. My heart is breaking for her. And I just don't know what to do but just hug her and tell her that I love her and tell her it's going to be okay and that daddy's going to bring her back to Florida and we're going to come back to Disney World and she's going to go on Tron one day, just not today. And she doesn't want to hear it. She's devastated. So as this is happening, I am telling myself in my head, there's got to be a way, there's got to be a solution. So what do? I pick her up and I start walking towards the exit of the ride because I know at every single exit, there is, the store, the Disney World store that is, appropriate for that ride. So I walk in and I say to myself, okay, there's got to be something that I could purchase, right? Maybe a small shirt, maybe a pair of socks that I can buy and I can do something with. So I go in the store, she's crying hysterical. I'm just so devastated for her. And literally, I can't find anything. Apparently, Tron, there's no apparel for Tron in the store. So now I'm devastated, sad, and I'm starting to get frustrated. So I carry her outside and I see a bench and a light goes off in my head. And I say, I have it. I have the answer. Super dad to the rescue. I'm going to figure this out. We're getting on the ride. So I sit her down. She's still crying. She hasn't stopped. And I start taking off my sneaker. And I take off my sneaker and I start pulling off my socks. And I notice that she's starting to stop crying because she's watching me and she's trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So I take off one of my socks and I start folding it. And I say, Stella, take off your sneaker. Now, I'm sure you guys are following. What I was going to try to do was I was going to put my socks inside of her sneaker. So now if she stands on my socks inside of her sneakers, that might give her just that little quarter of an inch that she needed, and we can try again. And Stella's staring at me and she's seeing me frantically take my socks off and fold them and trying to take her sneakers off so I can do it. And as I'm taking her sneakers off, she says, Daddy, stop. And I said, what, Stella, what? Daddy, stop. You can't do that. And I said, do what? Stop, Daddy, stop. And I'm like, Stella, what? Why? She said, Daddy, stop it. You can't do that. And I said, why not? And she said, Daddy, we can't do that because that would be breaking the law. And in that moment, I was so taken back because I was so proud of her and yet so disappointed because I so badly wanted to try to get her on that ride. And all I could do was just look at her, give her the biggest hug, and whisper in her ear how much I loved her and how proud I was of her. Here was my 6-year-old daughter who was living her best life in Disney World on her birthday weekend, going on every single ride, and she had an opportunity to take a chance on a crazy idea her dad was going to do to try to get her on the ride. And she picked up on the fact that she wasn't tall enough. She wasn't allowed to go on the ride because she just wasn't tall enough, and that it would be wrong if her father took off his socks and folded them up enough so that maybe we can put them in her sneakers and she could be tall enough. In her eyes, in her heart, and in her mind, that would be breaking the law. And she was right. That would be breaking the law. Well, maybe not breaking the law, but breaking the rules. You understand what I'm trying to say? What really got me was she was learning. She understood that doing that or trying to do that would be wrong. So unfortunately, she wouldn't let me put my socks in her sneakers. She wouldn't let me break the law, and we didn't try to get her on the ride. What she did was she accepted the truth. She accepted the fact that she was just a tiny bit too short and that she would have to eat her vegetables and she would have to be patient so that she can grow a little taller. And when that time came, she would be able to walk in on that ride because she earned it, because she grew into it, because it was her time. And on that day, it just wasn't her time because she just wasn't tall enough. And that moment went from heartbreaking for a father to a super proud moment for a father. And I'll always look back on that day as the day that my daughter looked me in the eye and said, "Daddy, don't do it," because that would be breaking the law. And it was a cool moment, even though it started out with a lot of tears. And we still talk about it quite often, even though it's only been a month. So I wanted to share that story with you because, there are times that I'm sure we've all tried to bend the rules or break the law. And, there are times that, maybe we shouldn't try to bend the rules so much. Maybe we should just be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Today's not my day. This isn't my time. I have to wait my turn. I have to work harder. I've got to get bigger. I have to be more patient because that really is the way to do things. And it was a great lesson for me as a father, as a husband, as a businessman. We got to earn it. And I'm proud of Stella for teaching me that lesson, for reminding me how important it is to be patient and to be willing to take the honest answer, even if the answer is no, not today. And I think a lot of us struggle with that, right? A lot of us, we wake up every day and we want, constant yeses and getting our way all the time and everything working out for us and always making the team we want to play for or getting the promotion that we think we deserve. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. Every day that we leave the house, it's not always going to be easy and we're not always going to get what we want. And a lot of times we're going to have to look in the mirror and be the first one in line to say, today wasn't my day. This isn't my time. I need to work harder. I've got to put more effort in. I have to be more patient. And when that time comes, I will be more prepared, more talented, and I will be ready for the opportunity. And who would have thought that I would have learned such a valuable lesson from my 6-year-old daughter, who was denied a chance to go on the Tron ride. And that weekend, that moment will always be it will always be the moment in my life where I learned that, you know what, you can't do it. We can't break the law. So I hope you enjoyed that story. It's something that will stick with me for a very, very long time. So the next time life kind of pushes you back or wants to hold you back, you have a choice to make. You can go and run away and be frustrated and take off your sneakers and start taking off your socks and trying to fold them 2, 3, 4 times just so you can get your way. Or you can take the news, take the disappointment, and walk away and ask yourself, okay, what do I have to do to accomplish this goal? How patient do I have to be to wait my turn? What do I have to be, and what do I have to do to be mature enough to accept this decision today? And how hard do I have to work? And how much more time do I have to put in to get what I want? And I think if we all do that, if we all take a little bit of time and take a deep breath at the moments that we don't get our way, I'm sure that each of us would find a way to get what we want, probably a lot sooner and with a lot less stress and with a lot more enjoyment. So I hope you guys enjoyed my Don't Break the Law story from our trip to Disney World. I will always, always remind my daughter, Stella Rose, not to break the law and to always be patient and wait your turn. So until next week, I just want to say again, thank you guys for tuning in, whether you are listening via Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whether you are taking the time to visit my YouTube channel, Coach Ray All Day. However you are consuming the Dig Your Dream podcast as I try to figure this out, the only thing I know how to do is hit the record button and then hit the publish button wherever I'm trying to download this. But I'll figure it out because I'm going to work on this every single week. And as you know, if you put in the time, If you put in the time and you put in the effort, it may take a long time, but you'll figure it out. And I'm confident I'll do the same. So until next week, until the next episode, go out there, do your thing, dig your dream, and remember, don't break the law. Peace.